Hey, what's going on, everybody? In this video, we're talking about the NBA trade deadline, how that is going to affect NBA Top Shots and also Sorare NBA. So a lot to get to in this video. We're going to talk about what's happened in the past with Top Shot and Sorare, what I think could happen in the future with some of these moments and cards, and then also going to get into some of the teams that I think are going to be trading away some of their better players, which is the ones we're probably going to want to target in this case. So right off the bat, we got Luka here. We saw a slight price increase on Luka's Top Shot debut. I feel like that's the best moment when trades happen. So you could see Luka here on Evaluate. The days before that, some sales, 580. And then the day of the trade, sales closer to 600, even some above 600. The floor is now 619 for this one. So we've seen a slight increase, a bump, I would say possibly. I mean, definitely over the average sale of 485. But if we look at Ben Simmons' Top Shot debut from last trade deadline, you could see this one was selling 378 February 8th. Then when he was traded, all the way up 450. So we were seeing huge increases last trade deadline. I don't think the increases are going to be as big this trade deadline as we've seen in the past from Top Shot, where moments just went crazy due to that. But then again, Luka Doncic, since he got Kyrie, it seems like their championship odds would be better. So you would think the price would rise on that. So kind of a similar thing happened for Kyrie. I mean, but they're not great examples because it's not like someone like Terrence Ross going from the Orlando Magic to the Lakers or something of that nature. I think that could bump up the price more than Kyrie going from the Nets, who were a championship contender, to the Mavericks, who are another contender. It's kind of like a similar situation, so take that into account as well. And then interesting with Simmons, I mean, this is like the start of the massive decline in Top Shot from February till now. So it was interesting that we saw a spike, and that was basically the last spike, the trade deadlines, and then everything just slowly kind of started going down from then. Another one to look at is Tyrese Halliburton from his trade last year around the deadline. He kind of went from the Kings, who were bad, to the Pacers, who were bad, so you wouldn't expect a huge bump, but it's pretty hard to see on this graph because it's stretching out over a year. But you can see sales right around 300 days before the trade, and then days of the trade, mid to high 300s. So we even saw a bump there for Halliburton, and randomly kind of seeing another bump here for Halliburton. I guess after he was named an All-Stars, his moment went from 70, 80 to above 100 for a while, and then kind of crashed back down. So on Top Shot, if I was going to target some of these guys, I would probably be targeting guys that are not on good teams that could possibly be going to good teams. Like I said, Terrence Ross. I mean, some of these guys are insanely cheap. I would like going after the Top Shot debuts. You could also do rares, I guess. Terrence Ross, $8 for his debut. And then a rare, his cheapest rare is $38. So we could potentially see some movement on rares and debuts, I would guess. But for most of the players I'm going to cover, it's going to be the same for Top Shot and Sorare. So let's jump over to Sorare now. And what we saw on Sorare is a massive price increase for players that were traded, like Rui. His situation probably got worse, honestly, because he went from being one of the scoring options in Washington to playing with LeBron, Westbrook, and Anthony Davis. So it shouldn't have jumped super much. But if we look at his price right here, it went from 10 to 15. Not really sure why. But then when he was traded, it went from 15 all the way up to 26 and then immediately crashed back down. So if you're trying to target these players, I would buy them before they get traded. And then if they do get traded and you see some like 2x in price, probably wait a little bit and you could get them at this price. And then we saw another big increase with Rui, but that was due to LeBron and AD and Westbrook, I think, all sitting out. So that was unrelated to the trade. And then even a guy like Kendrick Nunn, who didn't really do anything on the Lakers, didn't project to really do anything on the Wizards. You could see his price went from $5, $6, $10, $11. So basically almost doubling for Kendrick Nunn. So even like not good players, I mean, could be doing that. But also this was a trade a couple weeks before the deadline. Now we're at the deadline. We could see a ton of trades just rattling off and people not reacting as quickly as they are with trades like this, or just as much, because there's so many trades that are probably going to be happening. But like I said, the teams I want to target first is going to be Orlando. I'd look at Mo Bamba, and his price is just $5.80, 13 cap. If he gets traded somewhere where you can get a consistent 20 minutes per game, I could see this price easily doubling. Another guy I mentioned is Terrence Ross, who's just $2.50. Cap is just 10. If he gets traded, I think he's a good candidate to get traded. I also think Gary Harris, who is not a great fantasy player, to be honest, and I wouldn't be targeting him to play, but I mean to flip, I'm guessing if he gets traded to, the Lakers, I keep saying the Lakers, but teams that are trying to get shooters and stuff that are good teams, I guess it could be the Celtics, it could be the Bucks, those kind of teams. If a guy is moved from the Magic to one of those teams, definitely would see price increase on Sorare. On Top Shot, you could as well, but I don't think it's going to be as big as we're seeing in Sorare because it's fantasy related more than Top Shot, and they're just going to get more chances and could be in the playoffs too, which is a big factor for buying guys that could be in the playoffs versus not. So the Magic's one, the Raptors is one. I mean, Siakam maybe traded $65. I don't know how much that would actually move because it's already pretty high. Gary Trent, $17. So that one and a 32 cap. But then you got Anunoby. There's just a ton of guys on the Raptors. I mean, even if they trade, say they trade Fred VanVleet, Malachi Flynn price would go way up if they don't get a point guard in return. Doughton could go up a bit. Guys like that, you got to think about replacement players as well. Then you could go to the Hornets, Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier trying to get traded. So Bryce McGowan's could see an increase from $2 if those two guys get traded. I mean, maybe Book Knight could see an increase, and then I mean even just Terry and Gordon Hayward could see price increase. Terry's got a 44 cap, really high. Then the next team to target would be the Jazz. I know Kelly Olynyk is a trade target here. His price is up to 15. That's pretty high. I don't know how much higher that would go, maybe 20. But then there's like Malik Beasley, Jordan Clarkson. All these guys are eligible to be traded right now, it seems like. Mike Conley. So a ton of options here to be traded. And then you can look at the Rockets. I know Eric Gordon, they've been wanting to trade him for a long time. So a ton of trade options here. I think those guys are the most likely. Then you could even get like Nerlens Noel being traded. His price is just $2 with a low cap. I mean, I guess there's only one left at $2, and it goes to $4. But if he's traded somewhere where you can actually play minutes, which hasn't been the case, I think his price could go up pretty high from 2. You could see like a 5x, 4x on that price. So those are the guys I would be targeting. Guys that go from bad situations like Noel, Terrence Ross, Gary Harris that could go to better situations. And then also some guys like Malachi Flynn that if VanVleet's traded would step into big roles. Guys like that, and like Book Knight, McGowens, other people I mentioned, what's his name, Kai Jones. There's a ton of options here on the Hornets, Kai Jones, and then I think Thor's another. And Mark Williams, if Plumlee is traded, his price is pretty high though. So ton of options, ton to think about with the trade deadline. Personally, I don't think I would recommend buying ahead of news, anticipating they're getting traded, but if you can be right on the dot and buy them as soon as they get traded, you could see a price increase. Not financial advice to go out and buy these even when they're traded. It's not guaranteed they're going to pump up, but just what we've seen from Rui and Kendrick Nunn, even on some stuff on Top Shot, we've seen big increases like that. All right, so let me know what you guys think about the trade deadline on Top Shot and Sorare. If you're not on Sorare, Sign up with the link below. You'll get 20 free cards. Plus, if you buy 5 limited, you get 1 for free as well. If you're not on Top Shot, you can sign up and get $15 for free too, down below in the link. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, subscribe to the channel. Be putting out Sorare game week previews and also Top Shot content. So I'll see you guys in another video.